10% of the agents do 90% of the business. 90% of agents don't follow up. 10% of the agents are doing 90% of the business because 10% agents care about their follow-up process. So Michelle, you're with us now.
I am. I'm here.
She tried to interrupt me. Did you guys hear that? She tried to interrupt me. I kept going, pushing through. Go ahead.
We have to do a whole intro now again. So the recording.
Not doing it.
What's important, guys, is we know this, right? To run a business, you have to have every single thing in your business should be a system and a process, right? When it comes to lead, when it comes to your morning routine, when it comes to lead generation, when it comes to your CRM, when it comes to your listing process, your buyer process, on and your pricing property, every single thing we do in our business should be a system and process. And one of the most important 100% is the lead follow-up process, right? How many on here, just to show what we're talking about, right? Because this is one of the biggest deficits and lacks in our whole industry, probably in all businesses, right? How many on here, just from a raise of like voices and hands, feels like they have a really strong lead follow-up system?
Show of voices, because I can't see all the hands.
I do.
I wouldn't say it's really strong, but it's getting
Not very
better.
strong.
I wouldn't say it's strong either.
Better, but not adequate.
System is strong, execution is weak.
System is strong, process is weak, right? Yeah, and that's the case for almost every real estate agent that we talk to. So you're right on track, right? Good news is we're going to eliminate that today. Michelle?
Yeah, so let's go ahead and dig in. I want to set the, I do have a PowerPoint. You guys like to look at our faces or look at a PowerPoint?
PowerPoints.
Okay, so before I share our screens here, you know, when we're talking about, you know, our lead follow-up and building a database, you know, we talk about all the time. This is something I'm really passionate about with people I work with all over the industry on actually effectively building a substantial database, building and compounding and feeding you over time, right? And maximizing on all of the efforts and all the work you already put in. Who's heard me talk about this before, right? We are a prospecting group. You're already out there making the calls, doing the door knocks, prospecting sellers, prospecting buyers, circle prospecting, farming. What are we doing to effectively run a system to build our database that's going to grow and create those two different engines for us, right? We have our outbound engine and our inbound engine. So we want to give you guys some exacts that you can walk away with, tighten up the systems and process in your businesses for follow-up that you guys already have. And for those of you that don't and are like, where do I start? This will give you an exact template to do a start today to run within your business. So I guess at first, you know, we kind of look at, you know, you have different stages of a lead, of a contact, right? When we talk to someone, we've got people that are, you know, so what do? We look at it even starting from step one, right, Cooley? What are we doing when someone's, I think the easiest part, I always talk about this, we get trained on how to handle the yes, right? Amanda, you talk to 25 people a day or however many people you're talking to right now currently. And yes, we're trained on how to go handle that, right? What do we do with the rest? Okay, so there's follow-up not only on the yes.
What do we do with the no's and the maybes? What do we do with the people who were interested but ended up hanging up on you, right? The people who were going to do something but just had some objection. You weren't able to get to the appointment, which is realistically 90% of our calls, right? When we're prospecting, whether it's internet leads or anything else, it's hung up on you, not interested yet, right? That's 90% of the people that we talk to. And so what do we do with those?
Yeah. And in almost all cases, like we started us out with, we know that it's going to take a lot of touches to get to the conversion, right? We know that, we already are aware of it. And that's why having a pre-planned out process from day one, from the beginning is most critical. So let me share screens. Let's get this up and running. Okay. What are you guys looking at?
Lead follow-up system.
Lead follow-up system.
I'm in the dark now because my screen. Okay, this will actually fix it when I go to the next slide. And you guys don't see the dual screens, right? Just the main one.
Correct.
Nope, just lead follow-up.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay, there we go. All right, I got some light on me again. So we want to kind of just kick you guys off. We're going to start very foundational, get into an exact system. We might even share screens a little bit with KV Core. maybe not. We'll see how we do with time, right, Cooley? So
Yes, ma'am.
Cooley, I want to start off. So we talk about, what are the first 4 things? And what I always talk about is the first things we have to ingrain in ourselves is we're already doing the work, whether we're talking to 5, 10, 20, 50 people plus every single day doing our job. How do we fully maximize the return on that, Cooley? Okay, so every time we get in contact with somebody or really with anybody, what do we want to be doing? So Cooley, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have to go through a process, right? We have to go through the steps with the clients. And the first step is, what's the first thing that you want to know when you get a hold of a lead?
Motivation.
Oh, yeah, how motivated they are.
Well, I mean, just overall, it's right. Yeah. Are you ready to buy or sell?
Any
Right.
contact. I think the context we're talking about here, anyone you come in contact with, you make a contact.
Yeah. Whether it's an expired listing, whether it's a lead in your pipeline, first step, are you ready to buy or sell? So one thing that you want to know. Okay. And if they're not ready to sell, do you know any neighbors or anybody else who might be looking to buy or sell? Right. We all want to know that information. Correct? You guys with me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if they do not, the next step should always be, do you know any neighbors or anybody that you know who's looking to buy or sell, right? And these are, we can match them up with different buyers, different listings, or different processes, whatever. But we're kind of breaking it down into 4 things, right? If they don't know anybody who's looking to buy or sell, step number 3 is, do you know anybody who's
Cooley's muted himself.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. And so now step 4 here, guys, if the answer is still no, where's the money at? Where's the money at when we talk about our business? The money's in the data. Okay. So your next step is you want to collect all the information that you possibly can. I was watching this show the other day that had to do with these guys who are selling watches, and they're going to this big watch convention, and he was coaching up his team, and he's like, I know that all of you guys are really, really focused on selling watches right now, and you feel like if you don't sell a bunch of watches, that you're going to be a failure. Well, the good news here, regardless of whether you sell a watch or not, you're going to be in front of 3,000 people today, right? And the value is not necessarily in the actual transaction of the watch. The value's in the data that you're able to capture, right? So make no mistake about it. We're in kind of a data-driven business here because you can do a lot with that. And how many of you guys feel like right now you do a great job of actually asking for the data? Honestly, right? Is this
No.
the best email address for you? I mean, do you have another phone number? Do you guys do that right now? How many of you guys do a great job of doing that with your leads right now? With the no's.
No.
Okay.
I-
So that's something that we need to start making a priority, because we've got to grow our database. And the better the information that we have in the database, the more channels we have to market to people, and the easier it is to make that follow-up, because you don't know if somebody prefers text, email, whatever. You can ask them, right? But either way, you've got all of them. And either way, guess what? You're going to market to all of these things, right? So the value is in the data, and you guys should write that down just as a reminder to yourselves of what kind of business you're in at this point in your career, in your industry. It's a data-driven business. Fair enough?
And I want you guys to write down 2 more things. This is how most people are not trained, but in the world we're in today with custom automation, this is what we get to take advantage of. Okay. Because we always think of our database and it's our, it's our sphere, it's our past clients, it's our active leads. That's what we think of when we think of our database, correct? So what I want to train all of you guys on is write down these 2 concepts. And this is one of the things I always coach and train on, right? You have your core database, which is everything we've all known ever since we've been in real estate, whether you've been in real estate for a month or 25 years. Okay. Your core database is everything you already know, right? Past clients, centers of influence, your farming, your active leads and all that kind of stuff, right? Then I want you to write down your target audience. Okay, so think about this, Evan, right? You're out there, you're working, you're networking, you're doing events, you're prospecting every day, you're farming whatever communities, you're doing your circle prospecting, you're doing your mailers, whatever, right? You're doing all of these different efforts to talk to people, right? very few are going to be a yes today, right? So these 4 steps that we're showing you guys on the screen is we're training you on how to find the yes. We're looking for the yeses right now in them or in their neighbors or someone they know, right? We're looking for a lead and a yes right now. And then all else outside of that, we're looking for an email address. And the reason you want to do this on every single contact you possibly have is, Evan, that person you're talking to, do they live where you do business?
Depends on if they're, out of state buyer or not. But I mean, as far as sellers go, yeah, absolutely.
If you're talking to someone, do they live where you do work, do business?
Yeah,
Someone
generally.
that you want to talk to, right? Would you want to keep in front of that person? Otherwise, they're on other platforms getting their real estate needs, right?
Yeah.
This is your target audience. I don't care if you're doing circle prospecting. I don't care if you're calling expireds and for sale by owners. I don't care if you're talking to renters, if you're talking to buyer leads, whoever you are talking to out there, think about this logically. They operate or live in the vicinity of the county you service, the couple of counties you service, whatever that means to you, okay? They fall, again, in that second term, in your target audience. Your objective is to collect as many of these people while you're doing what you're doing anyways, which is your job, right? And you are now putting them into your database. Does that make sense? And you have to associate the two. So there's your core database, and then there's your target audience. This is everyone you ever talk to. You're already doing the effort. You're already doing the work. We should be extracting those email addresses every time. And the script on those, you guys.
I know extracting an email is kind of a low level conversation, but it's the one thing that we really get complacent with, right? And you get opportunities. And for those of you guys who are good salespeople out there, for me, it's one of my biggest challenges, because when somebody says, send me an email, my automatic instinct is to just overcome that objection, right? I'm not even going to ask the person for their email address. I'm just going to say, hey, I'd gladly send you an email. And then I go into my next thing, right? Without even asking for the email address. So don't be afraid to dial it back a little bit and just say, yeah, great. What's the best email address for you? And then you can go into your thing, but you're collecting data. It's the one challenge that I have. And for those of you guys who are good at sales, I'm sure it's a challenge for you guys as well.
But this
So
is
cool,
why-
you have a question about that.
Sure.
So should we, because I have a similar problem. So after we collect the email, should we go forward with whatever objection handler we're going to go? Or just stop right
100%.
there?
Yeah. Of course. Of
Okay,
course. And that's
cool,
what I'm
cool.
saying, right? We get the email address and then we continue with the conversation. Send me an email.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. What's the best email address for you? yahoo.com. Okay, perfect. Now we both know an email is not going to get your home sold, and I'm going to get right back into the conversation, right? So that's basically how it works, right? I'm going to go ahead and send you this email, and then I'm going to get into the next step. What was the plan when you put this house on the market in the first place? Whatever.
You'll also notice the script here, or the process you guys are looking at, is find the yes, ask for the business, right? So obviously we're not role playing, handling an objection all the way through, but you're looking for the business multiple ways, right? That's the whole point of what we're showing you on the screen right now. Okay. And so now, Gagan, what happens when I've done, let's say I'm door knocking, right? Let's say I'm calling expireds and FSBOs. Let's say I'm circle prospecting, whatever, right? A lot of these guys aren't going to have a real estate need. What do I do with that? They aren't going to have a real estate need. They don't know anybody. They have no one to refer to me. That's it, right? So now what do I do? It's a very simple script. I didn't add it into the slides, but I can put it into the comments when we post all the recordings here. There's a couple different versions of these that are really easy, but it's just simply, Gagan, we've established that you have no real estate needs, right? And I'm just simply cold calling, right? So what is that script? It's literally simply, Gagan, thank you for your time. Our neighbors, right, are having me keep them up to date monthly and quarterly on what's happening right here in this neighborhood. We know that the slightest change in our market and economy, like we're dealing with now, can have dramatic changes in the prices and the equity of our homes. Would you like me to also keep you up to date? Super simple. Think about if you ask that question at the end of every no, what was going to happen, right? How many email addresses could you extract on all of the no's if you simply used that script? Very, very simple. Are most people, how do you guys think most people are going to respond to that?
They're gonna want to know.
Sure, yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
And it's worded that way on purpose, and I'll give you guys the script. It's worded that way on purpose because it's specific to them. I'm talking about our area, right? I'm talking about their neighborhood and their market. I'm talking about the changes in their their equity and their financial wealth, and just keeping them up to date, right? Our neighbors are having me keep them up to date. Would you like me to also keep you up to date? And I'm emphasizing why it's important. If you use that every single time, you're going to get a very high number of email addresses. Okay. every day, Gagan, while you're already doing your prospecting, while you're already doing everything you're already doing. So now you think about this, you're building your core database, okay? You're building your target audience over time, right? But think about this, I always like to do this math. Think about this logically, okay? If you were building that target audience, right? Because Gagan, how long are you planning on being in this business?
As long as I can be, I hope.
You're not just trying to make a quick buck for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
You're building a foundation on your target audience, okay? You want that target audience to be as big as possible. So let's just say, Gagan, you could collect 3 email addresses a day, right? You talk to 20 people, you use that script on every single person, you collect 3 a day, right? Just simple math here with me, whoever's good about. So 3 times 5 days a week is what?
15.
15. What's 15 times 4 weeks? 60?
60.
Yeah.
What's 60 times 12? Someone tell me the math on that real quick.
Getting agents to do
100.
math.
720, I think.
So you can build just doing everything you're already doing, nothing different. Your target audience of people you're already spending time and effort talking to already. You can build your database and your target audience and continue to market them automatically for free. And you can build that database by 720 people a year. You guys following the math that I'm doing? This is what it looks
Yes.
If you take your goals into account too, and we talk about like the return that you should get on your database, should be a 10% return on your database per year, right? So you think about how many transactions you're doing outside of the expireds, all that good stuff. Like if I want to be doing X amount of deals per year, right? I need to have this database. This is how many people I need to have in my database to sustain that comfortably.
We're
Okay.
gonna get into the specifics of what you want to set up and what you want to do on on people that are expressing interest, right? That now go from a contact potential lead. But I wanted to hit home on this a little bit because this is a new concept for most agents, and it's not something you've ever thought about. It's not something you've been doing. It's not something you've been trained on, right? And it's what every agent should be doing from day one. Because what I always talk about is you're going to do most of your business from all of your outbound efforts, period, right? You're calling your sphere, you're calling your people, you're going after listings, buyers, lead gen, whatever you're doing, right? You're going to do the majority of your business from going out there and getting the business, making the contacts, okay? You're going to get very little from your database, this big giant target audience initially, probably year 1, right? Year 2, you're going to get most of your business from doing your efforts, right? Amanda, making your 25, 30 contacts every single day. You're going to start to get a little database that's contacting you, okay? Because you're marketing to them. We're going to show you what to do, right? Year 3, you're still getting the majority of your business from your outbound efforts, but now you're getting more business from your database. Year 4, you're still probably getting the majority of your business from your outbound efforts, but now you're getting a lot of business from your database inbound to you, right? Year 5, this creates a top producer. You wonder how agents are selling 100+ deals a year, 200+ deals a year, right? 50+ deals a year. This is what they're doing. They have an outbound engine and they have an inbound engine working for them because they've marketed on them for so long. You're not spending time and effort on those people, Amanda, but they're now calling you, right? And these are the people that you already talked to doing what you're already doing today. Is everyone following what I'm sharing with you?
What I'm aiming for.
Yes. Long-term game, not just chasing and selling the one watch today to make a commission. It's what are you doing with the data? Okay. This should be a very precise planned process, knowing how many deals you're going to be doing from this in year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. This is how a top producer is created.
For all of you grinders out there who grind hard every single day, the purpose is to grind ourselves out of the grind, right? We don't want to stay in that grind forever. And so the way that we use our tools and resources and leverage other things while we're grinding is going to determine how much time, how long we're actually going to be grinding for, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions on that? I just wanted to, is anyone having some light bulbs go off with this? I hope. I'm a little obsessed with this part. But does anyone have questions or even some thoughts on that? Anybody? Does it make anyone excited? Okay, so let's jump into some more meat and potatoes. Okay, so before we get a little more tactical, I like to kind of just embed this with people, right? We are in a different world. Some of you have been in the business for a long time, right? Like Cooley and I are even longer. Some of you guys have been in just for the last year or two, right? The last 5 or 6 years. Times have changed, right, Cooley? times have changed. And I just want to set this precedence real quick before we jump into the rest, right? So the internet has changed our perception of how we lead generate and how we lead follow up. Okay. The internet has changed that because it's very, very different now. Okay. So before, when you captured someone that was calling you off of your sign, off of your ad, off of whatever it was, it was pretty safe to say they were fairly up there in the buying or selling process, right? When you got into contact with someone, right? It's why we coach so heavily with you guys on the low hanging fruit, which is your expired, your canceled, your for sale by owners as an example. Why are they low hanging fruit? Anyone?
Because they want to sell.
Well, they already know they
Definitely.
want to sell, right? Even no matter how competitive it is, it will always be low hanging fruit because we know they want to buy or sell. Okay. But the internet has still changed our business and our industry on where we meet people at, right? Because here's reality. Now, when people find us or we come in contact with them, or we're talking to people in neighborhoods, or we're doing circle prospecting, or we're buying internet leads, or we're running our funnels, whatever it is, anything anyone wants to know is already on the internet. They don't need you, Amanda, to tell them how many bedrooms and bathrooms or how much it is. Like, no one needs any of that, right? So all that,
Exactly.
this is probably, hopefully common sense for everybody, but I just wanted to touch on this really quick, right? All this means is we're always finding the low-hanging fruit immediate. And guess what the bigger pool is? It's people that are earlier in the stages than it used to be back in the day. Okay, that is how the internet has changed everything for us because information is readily available for everyone. So now you catch people that are in their dreaming stage and they're very early on stages, and it's all about who's going to be able to work and keep up with their databases. That is the master of the game. Otherwise, you're always going to be on the hamster wheel, just getting the next deal, selling the next watch, and that's it. The next sale. If you do not compound and build on top of this, it's because we've always associated as I got my hot leads and what am I doing with them? But it's actually what are we doing with the rest and what are we doing to build it? Okay. I just wanted to set that precedence as now we jump into some of these formulas you guys can actually run. Cooley, anything to add on that or any questions from anybody? Anyone?
I just want to say I really like the term dream phase because sometimes we see them as like, oh, you're not ready or you're just wasting my time. But if you put it in the term of dream phase, now it takes on a whole new perspective for me.
But that we have to think about this real. That's why I wanted to layer this.
It's determines where they need to be put on the conveyor belt. You know what I mean? And that's basically what it is. And so if you think about your follow-up system as a factory, whether it's building toothpaste or whatever it is, or bottling Coke, you know, the drink, not the drug, guys, come on. It's a process, you know, you get the bottle, the soda squirts in the bottle, like there's a step for everything, right? And so asking the right questions up front, getting the right data is going to determine what process we put them in and where they need to start on the conveyor belt. But the most important thing is that everything is on a conveyor belt.
Yeah, everything, every person you come in contact with should now go on that conveyor belt. So, and obviously in the reality, we have so much technology that we get to leverage, which is really, really cool. It's not all just physical manpower, right, John? The first few people I see on my screen is like Crystal and Amanda and John Jacobs. But right, it's not just, oh my gosh, how do I keep up with these 720 people I'm adding to my database every single year, right? First of all, those colder people aren't people you need to be calling. It's all through technology. That is the world we're in today. So you have to leverage this or you're just leaving business behind for the ones that are actually going to go suck up that market share. Okay.
Quick
Now-
question, Michelle. Did you say that this is available somewhere on the co-founder site? There's PowerPoint?
No, but it will be. So whenever we do the trainings, we'll post the recording. I'll give you guys the PowerPoint, the notes, the scripts, all that stuff.
Okay, cool.
On all of it. So real quick here, let's start with, okay, Cooley. So what do we say, right? Number one.
Yes. And it's one of the biggest reasons why people don't follow up, right? It's not because they don't want to, it's because typically they don't know what to say, or they feel like they're what?
Bothering someone.
You feel like you're bothering someone, right? Now, obviously the way that you set these up are going to be really important. It's important that you guys are taking notes in your CRM system and getting those plugged in so that you can continue a conversation, because that's what follow-up is about. It's about continuing a conversation, right? And if we call them all the time as if they're a brand new person and we ask them the same stuff, that we already know that we asked them about last time, all you're doing is you're putting yourself into a position where you're just another person who's calling, right? First phone call every single time, not memorable. This person doesn't really care about me, right? You set yourself apart by the conversations that you're able to have. Would you guys agree with me on that? So when you guys are prospecting each day, how many of you guys do an excellent job of taking actual notes of things that you could talk about next time? How many of you guys are doing that now? How many of you guys need to level that up?
I'm doing that.
Level up.
Doing
I
that.
need to level it up. I got notes in my
doing it.
notebook, but not in
Right.
KV Core.
Okay, so you number one, obviously it starts with you know, how you categorize them when you call, right? Are they looking to buy in this time frame? Are they looking to buy within 6 months? Are they looking to sell within 6 months? Are they looking to do something within this year? Okay, you take good notes on the conversation, detail that in the CRM. Okay, and so when you make this phone call the next time, the first thing that you want to lead with is the motivation and the problem. For those of you guys who are on the Breakfast Club, you know that every single Friday we do what we call Follow-Up Friday, right? Which is to teach you how to make that phone call. And typically the first thing that we talk about on the role play is what? What's the first thing that we bring up?
Motivation.
Motivation.
Yeah, we bring up their motivation, and we do that because it tells the person that you're talking to that, hey, I know you, I'm just not a random person. Because maybe they don't know you anymore. Maybe you had a forgettable conversation with them. Just that bringing up the motivation and knowing details about the person that you're talking to solidifies that connection. And it's like, okay, I have talked to this person before. I know this person. I'm not going to hang up on this person. In fact, guess what? The next time I call them, my third contact, they're going to remember, right? And so you want to make yourself memorable. So we start off with, hey, John Patterson, ring, or Jonathan Martinez, ring.
Hello?
Hi, John. This is Chad Cooley with EXP. We talked about 3 weeks ago, and I know that your whole goal was to get this property sold so that you can move to Cincinnati and be with your grandkids. And I wanted to make sure that that's still the case.
Yep, we're still looking about it in the future.
Yep. And typically they'll say yes, and then they'll continue with the problem, right? Which is great. That's what you want. If you've already got a problem in your notes, which you should, right? That's something that you should bring up as well. Hey, John, this is Chad Cooley with EXP. We talked about 3 weeks ago. I know that your whole goal was to move to Cincinnati so that you could be closer to your grandkids, but you were still waiting for your wife to hear back on if she was going to take that job or not. Now, did you guys get any news on what happened with that job?
Yeah, we did a good update. It's coming pretty soon.
Okay, wow. So you're getting pretty close now, right? And then we ask the right questions. We determine exactly where we need to go from there. Then we either set the appointment now or we put them back on the conveyor belt, right? But this is a great opportunity for you to fish out problems. And what I like to do as well is if I get an objection, you know, like whether it's I'm going to wait or whatever it is, I like to dig a little bit deeper and establish things on that call. So any time you do a follow-up call, I want you guys to remember to establish, okay, so you're still definitely going to sell this house, John. All you need is XYZ to happen. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then obviously, once you've got that established, you guys can focus on what you need to focus on, which is finding a solution for the problem if you can, right? If not, right, you put them back on the conveyor belt. John, you know, okay, so it sounds to me like we still need to have some get some news as far as your wife's work. Have you guys decided that you're going to move to Cincinnati regardless of whether your wife gets the job or not?
Yeah, eventually. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so no matter what the plan is to move to Cincinnati, John, if I can help in any way, shape, or form, maybe find out some people who are hiring in your wife's field, give you guys some other options so that way we can put you on target. Are you open to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to sitting down and talking. That's fine. We just
Great.
don't know.
And John, I've got a lot of connections over there in Cincinnati. So I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to send you some information, get you connected with the right people. Now, John, what is there a certain time frame where you guys, job or not, you've decided that you're definitely going to be moving to Cincinnati?
Yeah, sometime this year before the fall. Before the
Okay,
fall.
sometime this year. And we definitely want to make sure that you're in the best financial position possible when you do decide to sell, John, and timing matters. So here's what we're going to do. Here's the next step, right? Either A, I'm going to give you a call back in a week, or I'm going to give you a call back in 2 weeks. B, we're going to go ahead and meet, go over exactly your timing options for the property. But either way, I've got a specific plan for this next person. And it's either going to go to an appointment or it's going to go in my CRM system for a follow-up call. And if somebody tells me that they're going to wait 6 months, am I calling that person back in 6 months?
No.
Nope.
Not at all, right? There's always a next step in the process, and that's what we want to make sure that we set up, okay? So I'm going to give you a call back, John, in 3 weeks, just to make sure, just to give you enough time to find out whether your wife got that job, to process the information. And I'll give you a call back and we'll go over exactly what the market's doing to make sure that you're up to date and we're making the best decision as far as time and you're progressing in the situation, okay?
Sure, that sounds fine.
Okay, that's it. Very simple. So I'm going to set the expectation for the next call. Make sense, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
Michelle, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Nope. I think that's perfect. I'm going to move on now to, okay, well, so this is the question we get all the time. Like, well, how do I categorize these? How often do I follow up with? So I'm going to give you guys a really good formula to follow. Some of you guys are already doing something. And again, the rest of you are doing nothing. So I'm going to give you a formula you can put in place today. Okay. So how do I categorize and how do I follow up with these guys? So number one, you have to segment your database, right? You have to segment these guys. Now, again, 2 concepts. There's your core database. This is what we're segmenting. And then there's your target audience. You can just label them as whatever you want, target audience, okay? I'll show you a couple of things you can do. But I want to make sure that's clear for everyone, right? All the absolute no's, this is just target audience, database over here. It'll be like your coldest flavor, right? Segment. And then everything else is your core database that we need to categorize, right? So simple methodology, okay? Whether you guys use the ABC system, which I'm going to kind of show you here, whatever you want to use. I talk about hashtags. This can be like a category, a folder. Because most of us use KV Core, I talk about a hashtag because we can simply hashtag, A clients, B clients, C clients, however you're doing it. We'll show you guys how to do this inside of KV Core. Those that don't, it's very, very easy. But this is how I take all of our leads, all of our hottest prospects. And again, we're talking lead follow-up. So these are our leads. We're prospecting and generating leads and generating appointments. Okay. So the first category would be your A clients, right? And here's what makes them an A client. Okay, Jonathan? They're likely to do something in the next 30 days. They're going to buy or sell in the next 30 days. I call this your top 50 list because this list is typically smaller than that, right? It might be your top 10, your top 20, your top 50. It depends on how much you're lead generating, right? This list typically isn't more than 50, but these are my people that are going to buy or sell right now or within the next 30 days. Okay. These are the people you are all over. These are the ones that we do get trained on, that you're on top of. You're calling daily, you're calling weekly. To me, I put a little note in here. You should never go more than 10 to 14 days without a touch or a call to this pool of people. Okay. So that is your rule of thumb. That is how you decide how you're going to categorize your A clients. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, so then we have what you would call your Bs or whatever you want to label it as, right? So now you have your Bs. What categorizes them as a B? Someone that's going to buy or sell within the next 12 months, okay? How do I touch these people? So I've got my super hot people ready to go. And then I've got my people that they're waiting till next year. They're waiting till spring, right? They're waiting till school gets out this year, right? Whatever, okay? Likely to buy or sell within the next 12 months. What do I do with those? Okay, ideally, you're doing a call, okay? So what I'm writing on, you're calling them every 30 days, okay? Now, once this list becomes big, because if you are doing a lot of lead generation, this list can get really big, right, Jonathan?
And really quickly, this is going to be so important for you guys right now, because what is the number one objection you guys are going to get for the next several months over the phone? I don't care if I'm talking about with your listings. I don't care if they're internet leads, expired, SPISBOs, what they are. What do you think the number one objection you're going to get from here until the next couple of months is?
I'm waiting until spring.
I'm going to wait till spring. I'm going to wait till summer. And most agents will get smart and go, I'm going to call them a month before spring, right? And then they find out that they listed 2 months ago, 3 months ago, right? This is a thing that happens every single year with real estate agents. So if you get somebody who says that mythical, I'm going to wait until spring, don't think that you're getting a jump on the game by calling them back 30 days before spring, right? This is, hey, I've indicated to you that I want to sell my property. It's just a matter of timing. And these are people that you need to start conditioning to do business with you, right? These are people that you need to be contacting every single month to make sure that not only are you in a position to win, right? But you're conditioning them as like, I'm the agent that you're going to work with, right? We don't want to do it too much, but we also want to make sure we are in a position to win.
And this is why it's a 30, this is every 30 days. You're calling them. You have to realize life happens, situations change. That's why you lose when you call back a month before that 6-month time frame we told you to call them back in, right? This is why we call them every 30 days. The only reason this says here, once it gets really big, this is when it becomes 100 people, 200 people. If you're really lead generating heavily, this list will get big. It can be realistic. Heavy prospectors, this list could be very well be between 100 and 300 people. So this list can get really, really deep of warm leads you're nurturing long-term, and you will get a very heavy return out of that if you're calling them every 30 days, or once it gets much bigger, probably minimum every 60 days. Like that is your minimum once that list gets big, just for physical time to be able to do it, right? And the whole point in addition to that is you're going to have some form of automation going to them, right? Things that don't take any effort from you. All of these people would be on a market update, automatically going out through KV Core, right? All of these people would be getting the video that the market update video that you do, right? So they're getting their automated metrics coming out. There's your update or whatever you're sharing out to your client base and database that you're just dropping once that goes to the entire pool of people, right? All of that's automated. All that takes little to no effort. So they're getting these other touches from you as well, but your physical touch is going to be that every 30 days or every 60 days. Okay. Any question on this category?
Yes, the agents who think that they're the best at follow-up are usually the worst at follow-up. The agents who say, I follow up every single day are usually the worst at follow-up, because what kind of follow-up are they doing?
Hey, I'm just checking on you.
Just checking in.
They're doing selective follow-up is what they're doing, right? And so you got to kind of take out your old sofa syndrome out of the equation. And this is why we have a process, right? So we don't rely on our emotion, right? We rely on our analytics, if that makes sense. And too many of us do emotional follow-up, okay? And we've got to stop that. Now, one of the things, Michelle, it's not in our slide deck that I recommend that everybody does is your follow-up Friday, right? You can say I do it every day. Great. Well, what does that look like? But we reserve Friday as a stopgap in our schedule every single week to make sure that we are excellent at the follow-up process. And the cool thing is, if you do that every single week, if Friday is for nothing but follow-up, there won't be a lead in your pipeline that has to be followed up, that hasn't been followed up on within the past 30 to 60 days, right? If you really institute that follow-up Friday. Do you want to get good at follow-up, right? You don't know what to say? Breakfast Club every single Friday, follow-up Friday, but have that in your calendar that you're actually going to do nothing but that, according to your data.
So then the next category, guys, that I want you to write down, right? Anyways, this is all your automation that I was kind of talking about, right? So your next category would be your C hashtag, right? My C category. And these are the people that are like, we're not going to sell right now, right? We don't have any kind of timeline, but you feel that they are someone that could buy or sell at some point down the road, right? So what do we do with those people? Okay. These are the people that you want to call. So you've had a conversation, right? Gagan, this isn't someone that's like kick rocks. They have no timeline of when they're going to buy or sell. These are still people that are that you want to be talking to. You feel they will do something. So these are in a cooler pool. This is in your C category. And these are people that you want to contact every quarter, right? The rest is all through automation. Does that make sense for everybody? So these are people that you're calling once a quarter, every 90 days. You're trying to move that threshold forward to find them to become an A or B, right? But you're keeping touch on people that you've already spoken to. Now you're just doing 4 touches a year, effort-wise, okay, Gagan. The rest is all done through automation. Does that make sense?
Makes
And then-
sense.
And then there's the D's guys, so that's this is basically your target audience, right? This is just like, this could be old contacts. This is just anyone you made contact with that was a no. Do the work, use the script, collect the email address, and just pile this up as big as you can. I want 5,000 people in my D hashtag. Are you guys following me? I
Yeah.
want as many people as possible that I'm just automatically dripping on for free. Because guess what? Do you think some of those people will eventually raise their hand when they've got a real estate question, when they're seeing me over and over and over again?
Of course.
Yeah,
Okay, this is the name of the game, right? These are the people that you just set and forget, and you wait for them to raise their hand. This is how you establish that they're a lead, Evan, is because they raise their hand to you and go, oh, actually, I would like to change my search parameters. We have a question about what our home's worth, right? We're interested in this house, right? Now they've established themselves as a lead that's contacting inbound to you. And you just
and you
wait-
guys have all had, you guys have all had people call you out of the blue and say, hey, I talked to you X amount of months ago or last year, and we're finally ready to go. And you're like, who the fuck is this person? Right? All of you guys have done that. Okay. And so if you think about, if you're terrible at follow-up right now and you don't have those people that you're dripping on, and that still happens to you, imagine if you still had, if you were dripping on them every single month for the past 12 months, how much more often that would actually happen, right? Is that 5 more transactions a year? Is that 10 more transactions a year, depending on how big your list is? This adds up. Now, we're talking about a year. Now, you talk about a career in real estate and how many people you come into contact with. 10 years in the business, guys, imagine what your database would look like. Now, think about that 10% rule, right? And what that would look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're planning on being in the business. It adds up.
This is all leveraging what we have available today, which is all custom automation through technology, okay, at an unlimited scale. You guys understand that? At an unlimited scale. Bigger it is, the more people you're going to have randomly raising their hand to you. That's what you got to think about. It's all a numbers game. It's all on scalability. Do the work of that 30-second conversation you're already having. Add 20 more seconds and ask for the email address, right? That's it. And this is set it, forget it. Let them over time start raising their hand to you. This is the part that agents ignore. This is how you can start to collect, because now people are looking at you, okay? So now, moving on from this, I want to give you guys an example, like real life. Okay, so I've got a potential lead today. So what do I actually set them up on? Okay, so you generate a seller. Okay, they're a client, a B client, C client, whatever, right? You generate a client. Obviously, you're talking to them immediately, whether you called them or they reached out to you of any form, right? Called you off of a mailer you sent out, called you off of an ad you had, you called them as an old expired, whatever, right? You talk to them, you're reaching out immediately. They're not interested to move forward right now. Okay, so really simple. They go into your database. Okay, now I'm automatically setting up to call them every day, right? This is my B category client. I've got reminders. I'm running a system on that whole section. I'm calling them every 60 days. Okay, how many times am I picking up the phone a year to call that client?
6.
6 times.
6. Okay, I'm doing 6 active efforts to reach out to this person, okay, I call it like the sales part, right? The sales process, right? Now, what do I have set up for this client? I had them on a market activity report in KV Core. Very, very easy. When I drop the recording for you guys, after all, I'm going to drop a link that has all the marketing automation. It tells you exactly how to set it up and for what types of clients. I'll drop that also in the comments, okay? Because everyone, if you don't know how to do it, needs to go back and watch it, because you have to leverage these automation tools, right? So every one of these guys should now have a market activity report going out to them monthly. Okay, and that's how you set it up. Every one of these guys can be set up to be received a sold alert or just listed alerts, depending on what type of client or potential lead or future person this might be, right? Every one of these guys, you guys should be doing your own market updates. So whether this is an email out, whether this is a video that you're sending out and texting out, emailing out, whatever way you're doing it, there's another touch, right? So that's something you're doing once and you can drop it to 5,000 people. You guys follow me? 500 people, 50 people, it doesn't matter. So that's you creating those updates, that information and sending it out. And you're calling them every 60 days, right? So when you do, it's very simple. Like none of this is rocket science. None of this is new to you guys, but people go, well, what do I set up? That's it. Now that's how you have 48 touches going out to that client every 12 months, compound now to year 2, compound now to year 3. right? The whole objective is that they're getting valuable information, right? And you are someone they're seeing as an authority in the real estate space. So if they are ready 6 months from now, 2 years from now, 6 years from now, there's a higher percentage chance, Gavon, that they're going to call you, right? Because they see you as an authority in the real estate space that's been proactively updating and marketing to them. Period.
And this will
100%.
allow you to also get a lot more strategic about how you follow up, because, you know, in future trainings, we'll talk to you guys about how people digitally raise their hand, right? And how you go out there and actually attack the people who are digitally raising their hand. But you have to have these systems in place in order to do that, right? There's ways to proactively up the marketing to people, up your sales game to people who are digitally raising their hand. Okay, but these systems have to be established in order for you to grow in that direction and be able to do that. Okay. Michelle?
Can I ask you guys, like, if you did this right over and over again on every contact and lead you ever generated, what do you think would possibly happen?
I have so much business, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Become a
Sure.
Nikon agent?
Is anyone on, I'm just curious, is anyone on here confidently?
She's not curious.
I am curious. Is anyone on here confidently saying, like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm already doing this? Anybody?
No.
I want to know.
No.
Nope.
You guys see how
I'm
this is a-
attempting to get this done.
You guys see how
Next.
this is a deficit in our entire industry? Like, this is what separates the 5 to 10% from everybody.
Yep.
Definitely.
If I were to go get Amber on this call, guys, who does like close to 100 deals a year by herself every single year, this is something that she's really dialed into, right? This is something, and one of the reasons why her business is growing, that she has down pat, right? And so for all of us, in order to level up, not only just do more transactions, guys, but just to make sure that your lives are easier and you're getting more out of the time that you put in. You know what I mean? Because I think if I were to ask the question, how many of us work hard? You know, the majority of you guys would probably raise your hand, right? But it's like, okay, well, what are we getting for that exactly? You know, and that's kind of where we need to turn our attention is, am I getting the most out of the work that I'm putting in? And if not, how long can I continue going on like this, working the way that I'm working, getting the return that I'm getting? All right. And if it's like, man, I could seriously use a level up, I'd really like to double my business. Well, then this is something that's not a request to be implemented. This is a necessity to implement this week, not next month, not I'll get around to it, not I was going to do it, but KV Core, and I don't understand how to do that. You're with one of the most resource rich groups on the planet, and you've got all these resources, right? So when you go to implement this, if you have a challenge, right? Like, well, I don't even know how to log into my KV Core. Great. Step one, we've got Dexter, who does a meeting every single Wednesday, who will walk you through this entire process, right? But if I were to ask all of you guys right now, okay, so we identified that this is important, right? We all know that we're not great at follow-up. We all know that we're not great at leveraging our technology. How many of you guys have been on with Dexter in the past 30 to 60 days? Amanda, teacher's pet. Okay, put your hand down. So you guys see what it is, right? It's lack of action, right? It's like, fuck, I know I got this problem. I know I have this problem. Now it's time to level up and do something about it today. So is there anybody on this call who wants to extend this process out a little bit more and have a meeting next year about how I didn't hit my goal and how I'm not leveraging my technology? Or is today the day that we finally wake up and say, I'm getting great here? We getting great here, guys?
Yes.
No, unmute your microphone.
Yes,
we
I'm
are.
looking directly at you.
Getting great.
Yep.
It's always the worst when you're doing these meetings and you're looking directly at one person and they're the one person that doesn't respond. And you're like, Jamal, I'm looking at you. Respond, please. Gotcha. Go ahead, Michelle.
What I was going to throw out there real quick is that, you know, again, we're talking about how do I maximize every single contact and every single lead, right? Number one, am I casting my net wide enough so that when these people are ready to do something, there's a much higher likelihood that it's going to be me, right? And am I making, you guys notice in all of those, there was the calls, okay? Let's not forget this part. There was a lot of times you need to call these people proactively scheduled on your calendars, follow up Friday, right? Through these different A, Bs, and Cs, okay? Because by making the calls, you're gonna catch the people when they're ready by calling them enough, okay? Because we already know the rest of the industry only makes a few calls. That is standard, okay? So by making enough calls through that system that we showed you, you're gonna catch people when they're ready. And then we're leveraging the rest through automation with a very wide casted net through different layers of automation so that the likelihood of them reaching out to you will be a significant percentage, okay? That's, if you guys saw that last slide, this is called, you hear us talk about this all the time, this is called running a business. This is called building a business. This is called I'm doing work today that's gonna pay me 12 months from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, not just being as good as my next call, my next deal, okay? You are laying the foundation, and all this work that you guys are doing compounding is going to pay you in the future. You just have to set it up. So what I would say is my Cooley, let's like just end with the action points you were ending with. One, again, you guys, all this recording will be posted within the next couple of hours. I will add the PowerPoint. I will add the recording link for how to set up all the marketing
Real quick,
automation.
Michelle, can I just say something? So there's a couple of things that I want you guys to ask yourself, and I want you guys to check the box by next week. All right. It's, do I know where to put my leads? Do I know how to set them up? Do I have the time scheduled? And do I know what to say? So it's, do I know where to put them? Do I know how to set them up? Is my follow-up scheduled? And do I know what to say? Okay. And obviously the you know what to say part, you can level up on each and every single week, because there's things that you can do to find or create opportunities that should be a priority in your business as well. But I want you to have the answer to all of these questions by next week. And I promise all of you guys on this call, if you guys take these things seriously, right? And by the end of next week, you know how to do all these things and we're implementing, you will double the amount of business that you did last year. And if you did really shitty last year, okay, then you'll go to a place that you've never been in your real estate career. Okay, we don't want to double nothing, right? You'll go to a place that you've never been in your real estate career. So take those parts seriously. Go ahead, Michelle.
I want to add one more bullet that you guys are writing down. And it's here, it's defining that standard in your lead follow-up. Okay. So I gave you guys, and you'll get it in the notes you took. Okay. And in the recording and the PowerPoint you guys will see posted, I gave you a standard that you can set on. Here's what's considered an A, B, C, or D client, right? Or lead, right? There's a standard of what that means in that timeline. You have to, it doesn't mean that that's what you have to do, right? Some of you will follow what I shared. Others, you have a different standard. The whole point is that you have to establish that standard for how often you're going to contact them. The automation's a given. You're going to do that with everybody, right? It's going to be the same 1, 2, 3 on every single person. Okay. The standard for what category they're going to be in based on what timeline and how often I'm going to call them. That is a process. That is a predetermined, I am doing this on these. So everyone should be setting up, establishing that standard that they have for them and their business between now and next week as well.
Do I know how to set them up? Do I know where to put them? Do I know how to set them up? Do I have it scheduled? And do I know what to say? So guys, I hope that everybody implements this. I promise you, each and every single week, we're going to give you something new that's going to put you in a position to really run wild in this marketplace while everybody else is having a problem. You know what I mean? For those of you guys who I know are on the Breakfast Club every morning, right? Like you guys are out there setting appointments every day. You're out there putting properties under contract. Do you feel a market slow down or no?
Nope.
No.
Right?
No.
And so
Negative.
that's the power of separation. And while most agents will say something like, well, I don't like to be a salesperson. I don't want to actually go out there and learn what to say, right? You're separating yourself. So you're not seeing a slowdown. Okay. And the same thing is true with your technology. Most agents will say, well, I'm not really good at technology, and they'll never do anything about it. Each week, we're going to set in stone something for you guys to level up on that will be a separation point between you and everybody else. Damien, I know that you wanted to get on the Breakfast Club this morning. Okay. Tomorrow, you make yourself unobjectable, right? Get my attention and I'll put you in. Fair enough? He's itching to get, I love that tiger energy that he's got. Anybody have any questions for Michelle or I?
Was this helpful, everyone? Was this valuable to
Yes,
you guys?
very.
Very much
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Thank you.
Yes,
Next
very well.
week is his open class on open forum KV4. You can show up and be like, show me how to do all this, okay? Every single Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific. It's on the shared calendar. It's on the calendar you guys get. Dexter does that every single week. All of you guys should be showing up to ask whatever questions you need to fill in those gaps.
Couple different things before we leave, just housekeeping issues. Number one, got that event coming up on the 26th, right? Top producers in the marketplace. Andre Jones does 100 deals a year. Amber McDonald, close to 100 deals a year. Randy Shackley, certified badass. Michelle Wilson, Jason Wyndham. They're presenting on a panel, guys, and these guys are top level agents that you're going to want to learn from. If you're in Washington State, you should go. If you're not in the marketplace, we will send you out a link that you can actually attend. Okay. It is sold out, unfortunately, but that link will be provided to all the agents that are not in our marketplace. If you are at all focused on agent attraction as well, use that as leverage, because if you're struggling with certain things right now, imagine the people in your marketplace who actually need this help, not in your marketplace, but anywhere, who actually need this help as well. Invite them to our training, let them see what we do. And I promise you, it'll make it a lot easier for you. We're also having on the 27th, Michelle, you guys are doing an event somewhere, doing something, bowling. What are you doing?
Something, hanging out, have fun. I dropped both the links, guys. So before you jump off here and we kill this meeting, if you don't have the links already, grab them. They're in the chat, everybody. So that's in Washington State. That's gonna be a lot of fun. That's appreciation to you guys. And then also the sales mastermind.
If you're not in Washington State, we'll send you a Zoom link as well, and you can watch other people bowl. That's going to be weird, but you know what? Stranger things. And then the last thing, guys, builders call on Thursday, right? We want to prioritize where we're looking to grow. So again, if the agent attraction part is something that you're really interested in, that Thursday at noon, we've really leveled up that call, and you're going to want to be there every Thursday. This Tuesday meeting, this Thursday call that we do at noon, and the Breakfast Club every single morning at 7:30 should be in all of your calendars. Is there anybody who's never heard of the Breakfast Club, or like, what is that? That's good. That means I'm doing my job. All right. So then I'll see all of you guys there tomorrow morning at 7:30. Hey guys, have a really good week. I'm glad that you guys showed up, and I can't wait to see where we're at in the next couple of months. It's going to be a fun ride this year. And anytime the market shifts like that, there's agents who fall out of the business, and there's agents who take over market share, right? And that's what we're steady going to do this year, is slowly but surely start chipping away at the market share in your area, and watch what happens by the end of the year, guys. I'm excited. Have a great week. We'll see all of you guys tomorrow or Thursday or whenever you plug in next.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.